Gotta love wintertime on Okeechobee. I started my trip this morning at 8 a.m. in slicks, jeans, 3 long sleeves, a hoodie, and a vest. And now at 3 o'clock, I am sweating my ass off in a lightweight performance shirt. Crazy. Gotta love it. No place like it. But either way, quick backstory. Today was a very tough day out on Okeechobee. We only ended up catching 3 fish on my half-day trip. I had a repeat client of mine named Brian. Great fisherman, great guy. Fished with him a few days this summer. He came back to fish with me today, and it was just a grind. Found a good group of fish yesterday. Went back to them today and sat on them for 3 hours, and they just never turned on. They just never bit. So I made a little move, ended up catching 2 or 3, I don't remember what we caught, in the last like half hour, and it was just a super slow day. Talked to a lot of people all around the lake, and everyone said they struggled, so that's just part of it. Try to keep it honest with you guys. You do not always knock them out of the park on this body of water. It's a great fishery, but it's just like every other fishery. It has its days. I'm getting ready to get a t-shirt made. Someone's probably going to steal this from me, but I want to make a t-shirt. Lake Okeechobee, the best and worst lake in the country twice a week, because that explains it. Found them late yesterday on my trip, middle of the day, kind of got on them and went right back to them today, and they just weren't there. But hopefully, Brian, you get back here in April or May and we go froggy up some big ones, and it'll make up for a slow day today. But ended up dropping him off. I just ran around the corner here right outside of Clueston just to shoot this video for you guys. Just wanted to talk to you guys about the 2 new models in the expansion series of rods I just got my hands on from Flipping Stix. I did a full-length video introducing the rods a couple weeks ago, but I just got my hands on the 2 new flipping models, and they're awesome, so I just wanted to showcase them to you. What I got in my hand here, this is the 710 extra heavy. This is more or less like your punching style rod. And then I got the 7.6 heavy here, which is just your all-around flip stick, right? But what Alex really wanted to do was he wanted to make like the most durable flipping rod he possibly could for the money. And I think that's what he did here. Durability was just his main objective. He wanted a rod that you could use and abuse, have confidence in, boat flip big fish, pull them out of the thick stuff, and just not worry about, you know, things breaking. Because here's the deal. When we're out here on Okeechobee, our flipping rods take ridiculous abuse. Whether you're flipping cattail heads like you see behind me, round reeds out on the outside, or if FWC has 3 days off and leaves their pennyworts alone when you're flipping mats. Either way, these rods get put through the ringer, and he wanted rods that could, you know, that could hold up to it. So with that, he kind of changed up the blanks, I believe. He went with a little bit of a heavier duty blank, and what that did was it did add a little bit of weight to the rods. Okay, so these rods aren't as feather light as something like you would get in the BTO or a custom line of rods. It's a little bit of a different blank. They're a little bit just a more durable, heavy duty blank. But with that, keep in mind that weight is not everything if everything's balanced correctly. I flipped with these the last few days, and you don't notice the weight difference. At least I don't, just because the rods with the reels on them are so well balanced. So they're super comfortable to fish with. They're super comfortable in your hands, and the actions are perfect, at least in you know, the way I'm looking at it. So the 7.6 heavy, this is going to be my all-around flipping a 3/4 ounce weight rod. Now, this is rated up to 1 1/4 ounce and rated down to 1/4 ounce. I think a 3/4 flips on this perfect, and a 1 ounce, if you're in a little bit thicker Kissimmee grass, I would flip that great as well. That's where I'm probably going to want to stay with this rod. It's got the perfect amount of tip, which is extremely important to me. You know, it's got a little bit of a softer tip than the custom rod that I had Alex build me a few months ago. And I really like this. Again, if you're new to flipping, if you're looking to get into flipping, everyone thinks you need like a broomstick of a rod. And that's almost the last thing you want. You want a rod with a good bend on the tip, not only just to make your flips more effortless. That helps you be more accurate with your flip when that tip loads up. It helps you lay the bait into the grass softer. I can't tell you how many trips I get from people that are new to flipping, and they're like, man, I'm trying to work on making my entrance a lot quieter and a lot more subtle. And a lot of times when I pick up the rod, it's because they're flipping with a rod that's too stiff. That little bit lighter tip enables you to just lay that bait into your target, you know, without making a big splash. And the other big thing is when you're flipping and you lift on your bait, you'll be able to check those fish. Like that rod will give a little bit, It enables you to check which way the fish is swimming, things like that. And this rod's got the perfect amount of tip, and then obviously when you do hit the fish, the backbone that these rods have is pretty crazy. They're ridiculously strong, and yeah, they can boat flip 7 and 8 pounders all day. Alex and Jenna are gonna hate me for saying that. But here's the other thing, the other one, the 710. Alex was super pumped about this when he finally got these things built. He tested them for months and months. He's like, dude, I'm really happy with the mat rod. And now that I've played with it, I see why. Great, ridiculously well balanced. It is, when you pick this thing up, you're like, you could, you know, I mean, you could throw a giant swim bait on this thing. It's a beast of a rod, but it's not heavy in weight. It's very well balanced. It's got the perfect amount of tip for 1.5 ounces. This rod's rated for a 2.5 ounce weight, or a 3/4 to a 2.5 ounce weight. I talked to Alex about it. You could flip a 3/4 ounce weight on this rod. You can, but it's not perfect for the job, right? But you could get it done. A 1 ounce would be great. This rod, at least for me, I think is going to excel with that 1.25 ounce, 1.5 ounce, you know, weight. I don't flip a 2 ounce, and I damn sure don't flip a 2.5 ounce because I don't like losing fish, but to each his own. So I keep it right there in that 1.25 ounce, 1.5 ounces, and this rod's got the perfect amount of tip for it, and the bend on this rod is really crazy. It's got a ton of backbone, and it's got a fairly good parabolic bend, but a lot of the bend is in the top third of the rod, which is going to help you in, you know, keeping those fish pinned up in the mat. Again, when you're flipping mats, a lot of people think you want a broomstick. You don't. You want a rod with a lot of bend, so that way it keeps the fish pinned and it keeps the hook pinned in the fish. And then when you really need that backbone, it'll kick in later in the bend of the rod. But another thing I am going to do with this rod, or at least I'm going to experiment with, and I think it's going to be great for, which I'm super excited about, I think this is going to make a great jig rod. So you could flip a 3/4 ounce jig on here, and a lot of people are saying, well, if you could flip a 3/4 ounce jig, why wouldn't you recommend flipping a 3/4 ounce weight? The jig obviously is going to have a skirt on there, which adds a little bit of weight and a little bit of you put a bulky trailer on there. It's going to end up weighing a little bit more closer to 1 ounce of a bait on there. But one thing I did flip a lot more this spring was a 1 ounce jig. I used to be 3/4 or die. But because we were flipping some thicker Kissimmee grass this year and some thicker clumps of round reeds, I did go up to a 1 ounce a lot. I think this is going to be a hell of a 1 ounce jig rod. I mean, this thing, I didn't flip it today or the other day when I flipped because it's not jig season for me. But once we get into that late March, I'm definitely going to be boat flipping some big ones and shooting some content, fish busting around me somewhere, flipping the big jig on this rod. So if you were looking for here's the deal, if you're new to flipping and you want to try your hand at buying a new flipping stick, this is definitely the one I would recommend, the 7.6 heavy. You could flip a 1/2 ounce on this. You could realistically, if you wanted to, flip heavy fluorocarbon. You could flip a jig on here. This is just your all around flipping rod. And this is also a great rod for probably throwing a big easy, popping a frog, whatever you want to do. And yes, you can obviously flip a jig on this as well. It's a great tip. This is a great rod to just get started with flipping, and you know, the price point is great. Again, if you were looking to try one of these rods, you can use Tight Splice, the code Tight Splice at checkout. It's going to save you some money, and yeah, super. You know, these things came out great. Love the cork still. Fall in love more and more in love with this cork each and every day that I use these rods. It's ridiculously comfortable, and the reel seat. Great. Had a lot of customers, you know, compliment the reel seat, just how comfortable these things sit in your hand. So give these a shot. I've been nothing but pleased with all the expansion series line of rods, and I still love all my custom stuff, but definitely check these out. And let me know if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to know what rod I'm using for what technique or what have you, or just leave me a comment or write me a message, and I will let you know. Also, real quick, side note, this is not a sponsor plug or anything. I've been playing around with some different braid. This is the goat rope, the blackout goat rope from Steve Dial over there at, I believe it's under the Bass Addiction brand. And this stuff's been pretty cool. I haven't done a full video on it yet because I'm still trying to wait and make sure that this stuff holds its black coloring. But this has been on my reel for like a month and a half, and it is still Sharpied out black. The stuff's super smooth. It flips really nice. It comes off the reel great, and I haven't broken it yet. So full review on this stuff may be coming, but just definitely check this out if you're looking for a black braid, tired of carrying around a Sharpie. This stuff seems pretty legit. But other than that, that's it. Check out the Senko Stix line of rods. Any questions you guys have, let me know, and or email Senko Stix on their email, and they'll be more than happy to answer anything that you guys can throw at them. Use Tight Splice at checkout, and I will see you guys on the next one. Tight lines.